After playing a ton of Battlefield 6 from the beta to the labs test, and thanks to EA for giving us an early code to the full game, we've been able to collect and put together all of the beginners' tips, tricks, and things that we honestly wish we knew sooner. This will help you get the best start, level up faster, improve your KD, and just have a lot more fun with the game overall. So if you learned something new, a like below and comment really does help, and make sure to share your tips with everyone else here so we can all learn together. First up, let's talk about leveling and getting XP faster. A quick tip is that if you play with a party of 2 or more, you actually get a 5% XP bonus, so grab a buddy if you can whenever you play. On top of that, there are XP boosters in the game that apply to both your account level and your hardware, which is basically your weapon leveling. These come in 15, 30, and 60-minute versions. So if you plan to sit down for a proper good session, make sure to pop them by pressing escape, which you can do in a match, and then click here to activate them. But make sure to save your weapon-specific ones for the hardware when you know you want to level a particular gun that you're going to keep using. You'll also want to pay attention to the Challenges tab and the assignments, because these hand out not just big chunks of XP, but also various skins, boosters, and even new class gadgets and tools. There are daily and weekly challenges here that are pretty quick to knock out as you play, and then there are the assignments. At first, you'll see initiation assignments. These are more simple objectives tied to different game modes and team play. But once you hit level 20 on your account, you'll unlock the class and weapon assignments. These are extra important because they reward you with new gadgets like the redeploy beacon for assault or the C4 for recon and new training paths. A little tip here is that you can track up to 4 challenges in the menu. This way, whenever you press escape in a match, you can check your progress in real time and know exactly what to focus on and how close you are. Next, let's quickly cover some settings that make a huge difference. In graphics, make sure to tune your field of view. I recommend setting this around 100 as it gives you way more awareness without too much distortion and literally lets you see more things on your screen around you. Plus, turn up the vehicle field of view as well. Then turn things off that just get in the way visually so you can see enemies much easier. Weapon motion blur can be turned off, camera shake can be set lower, the vignette and film grain should definitely go off if you ask me, and trust me, it makes spotting enemies so much easier when you turn these things off or down. If you are a mouse and keyboard, you want to head to the infantry and passenger keybind section next. Scroll all the way down to the bottom and you'll see the steady scope setting. You want to bind the secondary input of this to your right click. That way, whenever you aim with a sniper rifle, you automatically hold your breath, giving you way less sway and recoil. Since holding your breath lasts ages in this game, it is really just a nice quality of life tweak if you ever plan to use a long-range scope. Now let's talk about loadouts and classes because these systems are a little bit deeper now. You can preset your classes with a training path, a primary and secondary weapon, 2 gadgets, a grenade, and a melee weapon. The newest part here is the training paths. These act as a mini progression system within matches. Everything you do in a match will earn progress and unlock the different perks, passives, and eventually the active ability in the training path. You can switch classes in a match, and don't worry, you can always switch back and it will save your training path progress in the match. But after the match ends, everything is reset. Each of these training paths will end with a strong active ability, like the recon having a UAV sweep that spots enemies all around you, the support having an area of effect restock on yourself so your teammates just have to be near you, the assault gets a squad rally giving them adrenaline, and the engineer gets an enhanced repair tool for 10 seconds, repairing things 50% faster. So timing these active abilities when you unlock them can really swing a fight. Classes also come with signature weapons and traits. For example, the assault gets bonuses with assault rifles, the engineer gets it with SMGs, the support with LMGs, and the recon with sniper rifles. You don't necessarily have to use those weapon types for those classes when you're in an open weapon lobby, but you will miss out on the benefits if you don't. On top of that, traits really put a focus on each class's playstyle, with things like faster objective capturing for assaults, reduced explosive damage when near vehicles for engineers, and even automatic enemy spotting when aiming down sights on recon. So take note of these things and tailor your loadout to how you like to play. You can set them up in advance in the main menu so that when you switch in-game you're just ready to jump in without any downtime. Now the weapons in Battlefield 6 are super customizable. Every gun has a 100-point budget for their attachments, and each attachment costs a different amount of these points, so you need to balance what you want most to get the most out of your gun. The most impactful slots to experiment with generally include the muzzle slot, which has things like suppressors that keep you off the map and stop you getting spotted, and flash hiders or comps to help with recoil. Then you have sights that give you more zoom and different visibility options. Your underbarrel slot is great for different grips that give you better recoil and bloom control. The barrels generally have different options for faster bullet velocity or ADS speed, and then your ammo types can boost your damage or even your headshot multiplier. There are other slots too, but generally those ones seem to matter most in my opinion. You'll notice on the side that weapons also have core stats, like hipfire that increases your accuracy when you aren't aiming. Your precision stat reduces the spread and bloom as you continue to shoot. The recoil stat makes controlling a weapon's recoil much easier, and the mobility stat generally is to do with movement and ADS speed. Then at the bottom you have things like muzzle velocity, which is particularly important as it affects how fast your bullets travel, hitting distant targets faster. Whenever you tweak your attachments, make sure to head to the firing range, which you can do from this menu. This allows you to test your weapon out, and it's the best way to really feel the difference of what works and what doesn't. Also, don't forget that weapons have something called bloom or bullet deviation. If you just hold down the trigger to shoot, especially at any kind of range, your shots will start to deviate everywhere around where you're aiming, so it's best to burst or tap fire when shooting at a long distance. For any snipers out there, you also want to make use of zeroing. By default, you'll be set to 100 meters, which generally will do for a lot of the maps in the game. But on larger maps, you can press B to cycle up to 500 meters of zeroing. This reduces the bullet drop over those longer distances, making it easier to aim. If you unlock the rangefinder attachment, you can actually set your zero distance automatically by holding B while aiming. Even better yet is that you can bind this to your zoom button in the settings here, so it automatically sets your zeroing every time you aim. There's a few accessories that stand out on the snipers to me. The anti-glare scope reduces their glint, which is very noticeable in this game. The rangefinder is essential for more long-distance sniping, and the suppressor will keep you off the map and stop you getting spotted, so these all together are pretty good in my opinion. If you're new to Battlefield, there is a big mix of different modes, and you should really try them all to find your favorite. Some of them use open weapon loadouts where you can use any weapon on any class, while others are specifically closed, and this will lock you to just your class's signature weapon type. The main modes to be aware of include Breakthrough, where attackers push sector by sector and defenders have to hold them off. There's Escalation, a mini-style conquest, which is a new mode where teams fight over objectives in phases, building momentum and either pushing the enemy back or retreating back. Conquest, however, is the classic large-scale map mode, where there's multiple sectors to capture, and you'll bleed enemy tickets if you control the most. Rush is all about attack and defense, with the attacker team having to plant and detonate bombs at 2 different comm stations, while the defenders must prevent them and disarm the bombs if they get armed. Then you have close quarters modes like Squad Deathmatch, Team Deathmatch, Domination, and King of the Hill, which include faster, more infantry-focused action. So whether you want all-out chaos or tighter close quarters firefights, there's something here for everyone. Now, we also want to point out that Portal is back, and this is where the community can create crazy custom modes and rule sets. It is something you probably don't need to worry about too much when starting off, but it might become very impactful later on, as in previous Battlefield games like Battlefield 2042, it was insane for farming levels and weapon attachments. We'll have to wait and see how it stacks up for Battlefield 6, but it is something to be aware of, and there will probably be some very fun modes for it in the future. Here's a few general tips and tricks as we close out. You can double tap C to slide, which is really good for going around corners faster or diving into cover, so make use of that slide because it really does help. For close quarters modes like Domination, they are fantastic for farming your weapon XP up, because of how fast-paced it is and the fact that everyone is playing infantry, so there's no vehicles. It's also good to know that new to Battlefield 6, when reviving your teammates or squad mates, you can drag them into cover while reviving them. So you can actually move them while you revive them, so you're less likely to get shot. And finally, something important to note is that when you run with your knife out, you actually sprint faster. So holding F allows you to run while holding your knife, and you'll be able to get around the map much quicker than with your gun. So that's everything we've got for you in this Battlefield 6 beginner's guide. Hopefully this helps you get a smoother start and gives you a good understanding of everything so you can go in and have a good time. Drop any tips that you've learnt along the way so we can all learn together, and subscribe because we will have more Battlefield 6 coming your way very, very soon. Here at Arekkz Gaming, we're two friends who love to play games. You have me, Paradise, as well as 26.
Our goal is to keep the videos as concise as possible by cutting out any of the fluff and focusing on what really matters with high quality videos.
So make sure you're subscribed down below for more videos on your favorite games coming very, very soon.